What's going on, everybody? Andre here with the DM Network, and just want to remind y'all about the giveaway that we have running from now through January 31st. It's for a bundle package for one lucky winner for either 1 year subscription to Xbox Live, PlayStation Plus, or Nintendo Switch, or a $50 online credit for Xbox Live, PlayStation Plus, or Nintendo eStore. Those prizes can be mixed and matched. The link to the giveaway it's a Gleam link down below in the description. Click it and let's see who will win. Thank you, and let's get to the video. What's good, YouTube? Andre here with the DM Network, and today we're gonna talk a little bit about PlayStation, the PlayStation 5, and am I excited about it? Stay tuned. What's good, everybody? Andre here, y'all, and I'm going to jump straight into this. So we know that the PlayStation 5 is coming out, and I don't know how to feel about it, and I'm going to tell you why. So first of all, the PlayStation was, to me, a game changer in the gaming industry. You know, we went from the regular Nintendo to Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and then the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation. That's where it was at, man. I remember all the games that I used to play. And then PS2 came out and we were blown away. Oh man, it can't get any better than this. PlayStation 3 comes out and once again, we're like astounded at how great these games look and play. Then the PlayStation 4 dropped. And this was a different time in gaming because when the PlayStation 4, Xbox One dropped, they didn't come out with a bunch of games. There weren't a lot of titles for them. And I've seen this trend going forward. If you look at the release of the PlayStation 4, not a lot of release titles. Same thing for the Xbox One, same thing for the Nintendo Switch, same thing for the PlayStation VR. And if you look back, PlayStation 3 has so many more games than PlayStation 4. And just when it seems that the games are starting to get rolling for the PlayStation 4, boom, we're already looking at the next generation console. That's not a bad thing. We want better consoles and things like that, but there are a couple of issues that people aren't really paying attention to for the sake of, hey, I want a new console. Number one, let's look at the PlayStation 4, for example. In the past 2 years, we've probably had the greatest games to ever come out on PlayStation with Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Spider-Man. You see those exclusives and things like that. We have The Last of Us coming out here. I want to say this year. Days Gone, things like that. So we've had some great exclusives, but they've come at the tail end of the PlayStation 4. Now we're looking in the future to games like Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, you know, games like that, Anthem even, that will potentially be on the next generation console or is being built and developed for the next generation console as well. Not to say that they won't drop on the PlayStation 4, but I feel like those games, you know, because I think even the Anthem developers were talking about how the game doesn't run that well on the current PlayStation 4 Pro. It will run better on the next generation console, things like that. So one thing we have to look at is that, you know, do we really have enough games to say that, hey, this PlayStation 4 was great? I don't think that we do when you compare it to PlayStation 3. And the issue is that, number one, the cost. The cost of gaming is going up every year. Why? Because with more technology comes more things to do. It takes more time to develop. Gran Turismo's developer says that it takes 6 months to make a vehicle in Gran Turismo, a game that boasts hundreds of cars. You see what I'm saying? So they're looking towards next generation consoles. And then with the consumers, you know, we don't want to pay over $60 for a game. And it hurts development because, you know, then we run into the issues of, well, these companies have to recoup those losses somewhere. So they go to microtransactions and things like that. That's another video for another day because I do want to get into those things. But these are things to consider. A new console is going to take more time to do things with. It's going to allow them to make better games, but at a higher cost. So that's the first question we ask. Are the games going to be higher on the new console? And before people jump the gun and say, no, I'm not paying $75 for a game, you have to think about the pros and cons to that. Could it be beneficial to us as the consumer? It could and it couldn't. How could it be beneficial to pay more for games on the Xbox to the PlayStation 5? We're talking about PlayStation. So to me, if the issue is if we pay more for games, are we going to have less DLC and more content in the games? Then yes, I would gladly pay $75 to get a full game as opposed to a shell of a game, and then DLC, paid DLC, mind you, that's going to fill up the game to the point to what it should have been had they were given the proper development time and had they not focused so much on recouping losses that they may have made during the game. So in that instance, yes, I would gladly pay 75, maybe even 80 bucks, depending on the game. Now, where it's not going to be beneficial is if we still have to pay a higher price and they're still rolling out downloadable content, expansion passes, and things like that, while giving us a shell of a game. Now, if they give us a full-fledged game, that is awesome. Expansion makes the game even bigger. That's even better because we know with a bigger console, you're going to have more storage that's needed for these awesome quality games and things like that. So in an instance like that, yeah, I'd be cool paying more for the game. But if they're still shelling out a shell of a game and then filling it in with DLC and expansions and things like that for extra prices, then no, that's not going to be good. The second point we have to look at is, since it's going to take more time for them to make and develop games on these consoles, then the rollout time is going to be slow. What is the incentive to buy that console on launch day? You see what I'm saying? If you have a game like Death Stranding or Ghost of Tsushima on those consoles for launch, those games look pretty freaking awesome, and it makes for a very good buy, especially if Gran Turismo 6, or the next Gran Turismo installation, is potentially going to be on it also as a release title. Release titles are going to push console sales at the beginning. Otherwise, those things are going to sit and collect dust unless you have backwards compatibility. And that's my third thing. The success of a new console is going to be hinged on that, especially for PlayStation. Everything that Xbox is doing right now, it's challenging PlayStation. And right now, if you had to compare the Xbox and the PlayStation as far as full nature of a gaming console, it's hard pressed not to go with the Xbox because of their backwards compatibility. They also have things like EA Access and things like that. The entire library is open to Xbox players, whereas for PlayStation players, we have PlayStation Now, which is a paid subscription service that only gives us, it gives us a good amount of games. I think it's up to like 500 now. But now they've added the feature to where you can actually download them to the console. However, PlayStation, I want to say PlayStation 4 titles are left out of that. They're starting to add that now. But it's not like an Xbox where you can go and get a PlayStation 3 disc and put it into your PlayStation 4 and be able to play it. You have to get it through that subscription service if that game is even available. So that cuts down on the number of games that you could even play. And then with their Gamer Pass and things like that, Sony has a lot of things that they can add to this next console that will put them back on top as far as that is concerned. Because we already know they're there as far as exclusive. You see what I'm saying? So then the third thing would be with the new development, with the new consoles coming out, are we really going to get our money's worth? Because we see how many games came out for the PlayStation 4. It wasn't a lot compared to the PlayStation 3. And I understand because of development time and things like that. But there's also another issue in publishers monopolizing the industry. You had like EA, companies like EA and stuff buying up a bunch of these development companies, the competition, and closing them down. So that's going to cut down on the amount of games that's released and things like that, and also the release time and stuff like that. So if you're paying, the price of this console, it's going to be at least $500. I don't see it being $399. Especially with the sales of the PS4 still being where they are. A $500 console, what's the life out of that? What's the longevity? Are you going to get your money's worth out of it? Then are they going to turn around and do like they did with the PlayStation 4 and offer a Pro version? From rumor has it that the PlayStation 4 Pro was supposed to be what the original PlayStation 4 was supposed to be to begin with. So we're going to have those incremental consoles dropping. What about VR? PlayStation VR to me wasn't a success. I bought it and I played it and there wasn't a lot of games for it, and I sold it, and I like to think that I did do good. Did do a good job at selling it when I did. The reason I did sell it was because there just wasn't content for it. You see what I'm saying? And even now, there's not enough content to support that VR. You see, so it could be ahead of its time. There's a lot of tricky things that goes into VR with the motion sickness and things like that. But it did have potential. Not gonna lie, it definitely had potential, and it was definitely a really, really cool experience. I just couldn't justify having it without games and things like that to play on it. But that kind of stuff is up to the developers. When they have to develop a game regular and then develop a VR side of it, that just adds to their workload there and stuff like that. So it's tough from a development standpoint, but I appreciate the fact that Sony is giving them those tools that if a developer wants to explore those options, that they could definitely do those things. So am I excited for it? I'm excited for any new console that comes out. I'm a graphics person. I love graphics and things like that. And there were things in the PlayStation 4 with the 4K TVs and potentially going to 8K. Now that's a debate within itself. But with HDR and these better looking TVs and images coming out, man, I mean, it's exciting the way that graphics are getting better. Now, from the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 3, there was a significant jump in graphic fidelity. From the PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4, that gap wasn't as wide. So I'm assuming from the next console release that, yeah, we'll have some better graphic fidelity, but it's not going to be this super huge noticeable thing as far as graphics. I think it'll be more in the sense of like an open world game. They'll be able to do more textures, more designs, things in games that were like NPCs with bad animations or bad graphics. Things like that, they'll be able to have the space to do more things. Games will be able to have more memory to do more things as well. And then the fourth thing is, are they going to continue to do disc-based games? Or are they going to go strictly to an online service? The majority of the nation of gamers are connected to the internet and things like that. However, even though I'm connected to the internet, I still like to have a physical copy of that game, because if I don't want to play that game anymore, I don't want to be stuck with it. You know, when we have GameStop and places like that where actually I could go trade it in and get a new game or whatever the case may be, you see. So, and then if it is just all online, or if it's the bulk of it is online, how big is the storage going to be? Because let's be real, 1 terabyte is no longer enough. And that's crazy, because it wasn't too long before 1 terabyte was a tremendous amount of data, a tremendous amount of space to save games. Now you have games that have, you know, the standard 50 gigabyte download, 100 gigabyte download. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 was over 108 gigabytes. I mean, stuff like that is, you know, we need 2 terabytes, 3 terabytes even. Who knows? You know, they may throw that out there. But it's a lot of interesting things, y'all. Right now, I don't think there's anything super concrete. But, you know, I'm just putting this out there so whenever those things do come out, that we're not caught up in the whole sauce. Oh my gosh, this console is so powerful. Oh my gosh, this console can do this. This console can do that. That's all well and fine, but it doesn't matter. That console is useless if the developers don't utilize that to its max potential. You see what I'm saying? If they do, which PlayStation is known for, but they're exclusives, I expect great exclusives. But what about the other guys? You see what I'm saying? The console, in my opinion, is just as good. It's only as good as the games that come out on that console. You see what I'm saying? If I'm a there's no it's like having a Ferrari with a Ford Focus engine in it. Yeah, the outside looks great, but it's what's on the inside. It's, you know, it's what's doing it. If I'm a race car driver, yeah, I can have the best car in the world, but if I suck at driving, guess what? That car has just become useless. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I think. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button or the dislike if you don't like it. Whatever. Till next time, y'all, thanks for watching. And God bless.